Hey there, good evening. Nice to see you. Welcome to the Bronx Buzz. This is BronxNet's program where we talk to reporters and writers and editors, and we're going to talk to a brand new Bronx editor in just a moment. Second segment, we're going to be meeting a woman who is doing some unbelievably charitable stuff in the borough of the Bronx. But right now, she is the brand new editor of the Riverdale Press. It's my thrill to be able to present one of my friends to the world as the new editor of the Riverdale Press, E.T. Rodriguez. Nice to have you with us.
Yes, so happy to be here. Thank you.
So congratulations. Now, I knew you for, I guess, a while because you were doing arts and culture for the Bronx Times. Do you want to talk how the transition went from that position to now? Wow, she called me. She said, "Hey, Gary, guess who the new editor of the Riverdale Press is?" And she said, "It's me." Yeah. So tell me all about what happened and where you're at and what's going on.
Well, Gary, you have seen me from the beginning, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes, you have, from the beginning of my career. You interviewed me about my second story in the Bronx Times.
Wow.
But yeah, so I started my journalism career basically just to highlight the Bronx, just to be a player in the Bronx. And I started with the Bronx Times. I started as an arts and culture writer. I was the only dedicated arts and culture reporter of the borough. And then, because of that, I just started to gain a lot of attention. I was on WNYC on all of it. I was a guest there, and I was an expert on the food scene of the Bronx. And
I have to say, I do like that you went like this because, they say all kinds of things about people who are on TV or, all that. So all of a sudden you became an expert.
Right. Yeah. And I just took every single opportunity that there was to highlight the Bronx and be an instrumental part of the news that's disseminated to the people of the Bronx. So I heard that there was an opening for the Riverdale Press, and I said, you know what, why not me? And I know, and I applied, and this is my first editor job. But the way I sold myself was, listen, I know this neighborhood. I play pool in this neighborhood. I do date night in this neighborhood. I know the executive directors of the community centers, the business owners, your local barflies. I mean, I know everyone here. And so
I'm happy you didn't include me in that in that category.
Yeah, and then here is Riverdale, Kingsbridge, Van Cortlandt, Marble Hill, Spite, and Dyerball, which is pretty much the coverage area.
Now, what I don't think I know this. You had mentioned that you wanted to do, media, and you wanted to do journalism and tell the stories of the Bronx. You grew up here?
Yeah, I
grew up. I didn't know that.
Absolutely, native Bronxite. I grew up on Meshuggah Parkway.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. You go to PS 80? We're telling old stories here.
I did. I went to PS 8 on Briggs, and then I went to 80 across the Parkway, and then I did high school on the Upper East Side, Manhattan. I went to a performing arts school.
Performing arts. Well,
but I went to Lehman. I did my undergrad at Lehman.
At Lehman College?
Mm-hmm. In art.
I had no idea that we were alums of the same ilk. What are the kinds of things that? Because I know that arts and culture motivate you about covering. Now, I should hold up my dog-eared paper, which I read cover to cover every week. Was this your first edition?
That was my first, yes. It was.
So it's a souvenir issue.
Absolutely.
What motivates you about covering this neighborhood? And, what are the challenges? Like, give us a little perspective on what the new editor of the Riverdale Press sees.
Absolutely. So one of the big things, and since I became the editor of the Riverdale Press, and because I know so many people in the community, they come to me. And
including Gary Axelbank.
Right, exactly. And, and they come to me and they let me know what matters to them. And, in local journalism, and what I've seen with the Riverdale Press previously was that it included a lot of news that wasn't very specific to the hyperlocal coverage area that we have. And like I said, I know the neighborhood. Like, okay, last week I was at the Punch Bowl on 238th and Broadway. It's where I went to school. And somebody came up to me.
Now we know where the new editor of the Riverdale Press hangs out. She was talking about barflies. Okay.
I'm one. And I was there, and they said, "Hey, did you hear about something that happened in Van Cortlandt Park? Apparently, there was a body found or whatever." And nobody reported on it. I had no idea about it. I called DCPI, the Deputy Commissioner.
This was recently?
Recently. And I can say this because it's going to get put in the paper today. So by the time this airs, but I had to call DCPI and I said, "Hey, I'm following up on this story of a body that was found." Come to find, there was a body found hanging from a tree in the park. Nobody reported on it. No news, nobody covered it. But because, I have the community as my eyes and ears, I was able to.
You were able to get the story.
Exactly.
Yeah. One thing that makes the paper distinctive, this is a Pulitzer Prize winning paper.
That's
and
right.
The legacy of the Stein brothers of Buddy and Richie is certainly pretty profound. I guess it requires a little more, not that you or anybody else would take their responsibility lightly, but it adds a little bit, like if you're going to do whatever you're going to do, you better do it at a high level, because that is the legacy of the paper, that it has won a Pulitzer Prize. And of course, annually in the New York State newspaper awards, they've done very well. So do you feel that? I mean, I'm presuming that you do feel that, wow, if I'm going to do this, we all have to raise our game, so to speak.
Yeah, well, when I was on your show not too long ago, I mentioned something about having my eye on a Pulitzer and wanting to win a Pulitzer.
You did? I'm sorry, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, and so, I'm right on track.
There you go.
Exactly.
Because the legacy is here. I want to ask you about the newspaper business, because as opposed to being a reporter, but being the editor, there is some responsibility there. The Star Ledger, and I forget which, maybe the Bergen Record, one of the other papers, stopped printing a print edition very recently because the nature of media and media consumption has changed. I held up the print edition of the Riverdale Press on purpose, because I still get it and I still like to get it, and this is what I read. How do you view that? Do you view the paper as important, or the fact that everything is going to be online is maybe that's the future? Because of course it is an expense to do this, for an additional expense for a newspaper.
So the Riverdale Press is under the umbrella of Rickner Communications.
Yes, that's true.
Owns more than 20 papers in New York City, including Long Island. And we have our own printing press, which is fabulous to see in person. I never seen one before, and it's really impressive.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. But we definitely prioritize print. We realize print is a really, unfortunately it's dying, and everything is going in the digital way. And I am, trying to activate our Instagram and putting stuff on Facebook. But I myself, when we have an influx of papers that are delivered, I grab them and take them to the bar or take them to the pizza shop. And I'm like, hey, read this. And, people really still like to hold something in their hand.
Well, we're going to give the people who are watching right now a real inside look at how it works. Because while I'm sitting here, I just realized a story that's a really good story for you. So I'm going to tell you about it on the air.
Okay.
When I turn on my tap now, the water smells. It's got that kind of a weird. You could smell it if you take a shower and all that. And that usually means that the city has now, and this is why it's important to the local community, because the city is, see, she's taking her notes. The city is using Croton water, which comes through the filtration plant, which of course was a major controversy around here. Now, at first I thought it was because of the drought. As I understand, it's because they have shut down the other aqueduct. And so they're using Croton water. But it would be, an interesting question test out your own water. I don't know.
I know.
It would be an interesting question to see why the city made the decision, what the plans are, and if it's coming out of a $1 billion filtration plant, why does it still get an odor or get an unusual taste, et cetera, et cetera. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard the phone call that I might have made to ET and said, hey, I got a story for you. So there you go. So there's something to chase down. You want to give us a sneak preview? We got about a minute. A sneak preview of what's going to be in the paper this coming time?
Yeah.
You're not ready yet.
So, yeah.
By the way, we record this on Tuesday. It'll be on the air on Thursday, and that's when the paper comes out. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm focusing on a post-election paper.
Oh, yes.
Right. Yeah, because, we're a weekly. So I went out and I took the reporters out because I also feel it's very important to lead by example. So I said, hey, we're going to go out into the street and we're going to talk to the people. Trump's president. People feel a certain kind of way about it. Let's talk to them. But let's also be diverse and inclusive. So we spoke to a lot of people who love Trump, people who hate Trump. And I'm really excited about bringing this perspective of unity. It's been so divisive. People have been turning against each other, being enemies. And one thing I actually wrote my editorial on it this week. And I said, hey, I understand that we don't agree with someone and their policies, but at the end of the day, we're neighbors, we're friends, we're sisters, we're brothers,
Well, we got to run.
Sure.
Congratulations. I'm thrilled that I got the opportunity to present the new editor of the Riverdale Press. And it certainly sounds to me like you are on track, and we are really going to be excited about reading this newspaper in paper every single week. And we'll look forward to having you back and et cetera. Are you going to do any writing other than the editorial page? You're going to write some stories?
Well, for now, I'm writing a bunch.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Till you get it going. Listen, congratulations on the job, and congratulations to all of us for having a fine young editor of the Riverdale Press. Thank you so much. Okay. We're going to take a short break, folks. And then when we come back, I'm telling you, you're going to really be excited about this woman who has a giving program in the Bronx. We'll be right back.